Good day everyone, I am John Mark Caryaga and I will be talking about the first BSP's short-term monetary instruments, which is Overnight Reverse Repurchase Agreement. On June 3, 2016, the BSP formally adopted an interest rate corridor or the IRC system as a framework for conducting its monetary operations. So yung IRC is isa nga siyang system wherein it is used para i-guide yung mga short-term market rates towards sa mga BSP policy interest rates, which is the Overnight Reverse Repurchase or the RRP rate na pag-uusapan natin ngayon. It consists of a rate at which the central bank lends to banks, typically an overnight lending rate, and a rate at which it takes deposits from them or the deposit rate. So yung lending rate is mas mataas siya kumpara sa central bank target or policy rate in a standard corridor, which is nagpro-provide siya ng mas mataas na limit for short-term market rates, while yung sa deposit rate naman is mas mababa compare sa central bank policy rate, which is nagpro-provide naman siya ng mababang limit. Overnight Reverse Repurchase Agreement. The existing RRP facility is an overnight facility and will be offered using a fixed rate and full allotment method. It only means na yung bidder or yung buyer is magkakaroon ng percentage or parte sa total offer based sa amount ng na-purchase nila. The overnight rate will be maintained relatively close to the BSP policy rate due to the fixed rate or the full allotment method. So let's take a look for our illustrations. So meron tayo ritong central bank which is BSP and sa kabila naman na side is si bank. Let's just say na si BSP is wala siyang cash but marami siyang asset. And si bank naman is maraming excess cash na maaari niya itong gamitin in a good purpose or way. And this is what we call repurchase agreement or repo. So meron tayong 3 scenario na makikita and this will make us understand kung ano ba yung purpose and how this work. So scenario 1, si BSP siya yung magiging seller, which is ibibigay ni BSP yung asset niya or yung government securities na tinatawag natin as a collateral sa bangko, which is yung bangko naman is magiging buyer, wherein may agreement sila na kukunin rin ito ni BSP in a specific period of time. So ngayon, makikita natin sa scenario 2 na si bank is ibibigay or i-deliver niya na agad yung cash ni inutang ni BSP. In this scenario naman, when the specified time has arrived, si BSP is binili niya ulit yung bonds pabalik sa kanya na binenta niya sa bangko. Pero in this time, mas mataas yung price kesa nung ibinenta niya ito. So si BSP nga is na-receive niya ulit yung bonds na ibinenta niya sa bangko, while si bank naman is kumita siya sa pagpapahiram ng pera na may mataas na interest. Sa BSP, nagkaroon tayo ng repo, and kay bank naman is nagkaroon tayo ng reverse repo. Itong government securities na ito or yung mga bonds which serve as a collateral ay intensyon ni bank na ibenta pabalik kay BSP para mas kumita siya ng pera mula doon. So meron rin tayong tinatawag na third party repo, which is yung tao dito na siya yung nagfa-facilitate sa mga transactions na ginagawa ng mga buyer and seller. So for example nito, yung loan transactions, which is parang yung illustration rin natin kanina, yung bonds as a collateral. But, ang kaibahan naman nito sa repo agreement is that yung collateral is nagbabago rin ito agad, mapa-temporary man yan or ibalik agad sa may-ari, according sa napag-usapan nilang agreements. Overnight Reverse Repurchase Operation. So yung BSP nga parang yung illustration natin kanina sa taas, yung BSP and yung bank. Si BSP nga is hihiram siya ng pera mula sa bangko gamit yung mga government securities as collateral. So yung BSP, yung mga hiniram ni BSP na pera is magkakaroon ng contractionary effect sa money supply. And yung mga pera sa bangko is maaalis doon and mapupunta ito sa BSP. That's all for my presentation. Thank you and God bless.
Monetary operations under the interest rate corridor framework, issuance of BSP securities. BSP securities are monetary instruments issued by the BSP for its monetary policy implementation and liquidity management operations to steer short-term market interest rates towards the policy rate and influence liquidity conditions in the financial system. With the passage of Republic Act or RA 11211, which amended RA 7653 or the new Central Bank Act, the BSP's authority to issue its own debt securities as part of its instruments for regular monetary operations has been restored. Previously, the BSP is only allowed to issue its own debt securities in cases when there are extraordinary movements in price levels. The restoration of the BSP's ability to issue its own debt securities provides the BSP with an additional monetary instruments for absorbing financial system liquidity. The issuance of BSP securities complements the other short-term monetary policy tools used by the BSP to manage liquidity in the financial system, such as the term deposit facility, overnight reverse repurchase facility, overnight deposit facility, and overnight lending facility. What are the BSP securities and why are they important? First, additional monetary instrument. For monetary policy implementation under the interest rate corridor framework to guide short-term market interest rate toward the policy rate. Next, it is a tool for liquidity management operations to influence or manage liquidity in the financial system, particularly those arising from large structural liquidity surplus due to capital flows or additional liquidity release from the reduction in the reserve requirement ratios of banks. It also serves as an additional short-term monetary policy tool used by the BSP to help manage liquidity in the financial system, such as term deposit facility, overnight reverse repurchase facility, overnight deposit facility, and overnight lending facility. And it supports the BSP's initiative to shift to more market-based monetary operations and allow the BSP to conduct monetary operations in line with international central banking practice. Also, it enhances the development of the local bond market as an additional to the pool of risk-free assets in the financial system alongside the securities issued by the national government. Additionally, it contributes to improve price discovery for debt instruments and supports the monetary policy transmission through the regular auction of BSP securities. What is the difference between BSP securities and BTR-issued securities? BSP securities are issued by the Philippine Central Bank as a tool for liquidity management in the financial system to support monetary policy transmission, while government securities are issued by the national government through the BTR to fund the government's spending requirements. Note that the issuance of BSP securities are held in close coordination with BTR to ensure that issuances do not compete with the issuances of securities by the national government in terms of tenor, timing of issuance, among others. What types of securities will the BSP issue? Securities that the BSP issues are BSP bills as short-term and BSP bonds as long-term. The BSP will initially offer BSP bills in view of the prevailing market preference for shorter tenors. What would be the tenors or maturity of the BSP securities? Central bank securities usually cover the shorter segment of the yield curve. However, central bank bonds with longer maturities are offered when there is persistent structural excess liquidity. In general, the offered tenors for BSP securities shall be conditional on the market preferences and liquidity conditions. What are the features of BSP securities? Participants in the auction. Initial offering of BSP bills to existing BSP counterparties in the term deposit facility, universal and commercial banks, thrift banks, and non-banks with quasi-banking functions at the onset. Expansion of counterparties may be considered going forward. Auction frequency. Issuance are conducted through auction on a weekly basis or depending on the market appetite as well as latest liquidity conditions and forecasts. Auction details. Auction are done through the BSP's Monetary Operation System or MOS to determine allotment of securities. MOS is a web-based electronic platform that enables counterparties to participate in the BSP's peso liquidity facilities. BTR's National Registry of Scriptless Securities will serve as a registry of successful awarded BSP securities and ensure delivery versus payment. National Registry of Scriptless Securities is an electronic registry system for government securities and facilitates the settlement and recording of transfers of government securities through an established interface with the trading platform for secondary market trades and the BSP's Philippine Payment and Settlement System or PhilPass. Auction size. For the initial issuance, the BSP will offer relatively small auction volumes to test market demands as well as ensure that counterparties will be thoroughly familiar with the process prior to scaling up the issuance size. Secondary market trading. It is done through designated trading platform of the Philippine Dealing and Exchange Cooperation or PEDEX, subject to PEDEX and Security and Exchange Commission or SEC rules on secondary market trading of securities. Initially, secondary market trading of BSP securities shall be limited to the same institutions that are allowed to participate in the BSP securities auction. At the same time, sell-down of BSP securities to institutional and retail clients of eligible participant is not allowed at the initial stage. The expansion of access to BSP securities to include the other market participants will be studied further and may be considered at a later phase.
Good day everyone, my name is Alamay Capuno and I'm here to discuss to you one of the monetary instrument, the term deposit facility. Let us know first what is term deposit. It is a low-risk way to invest your money for a set amount of time and get fixed interest rate. If you are looking for a safe investment option and want to earn a bit more in interest, then term deposit might meet your needs. Ang term deposit kasi isang uri ng pag-ipon sa bangko na kung saan makakakuha ang investor ng time rate of interest. Sa pinakakakaibang katangian nito is it lock away your money for the time you choose, usually between 1 month and 5 years. Setting up an account is for free, but then you must have a minimum amount which is 1,000 to 100,000 to open an account. And take note, hindi mo pwedeng ilabas ang pera mo before the term end nang hindi nagbabayad ng penalty fee. Ano-ano nga bang klase ng interes ang pwede mong makuha sa term deposit? This kind of investment offers fixed rate in which whatever behavior of the market the time you invest your money won't affect the interest rate. Nakabase ka sa yung makukuha mong interest rate una sa bangkong napili mo. Banks have different interest rate to offer, kaya naman you must choose the bank who offer higher interest rate. The next one is the amount of money na ininvest mo. The bigger the amount of money, the higher interest rate. Take note, once na pinasok mo na yung money mo, hindi mo na siya pwedeng galawin. Meaning, hindi mo pwedeng bawasan o dagdagan. Unless, the term deposit comes to its maturity or natapos na yung term niya. Lastly, the duration. Kung gaano katagal na lock away yung investment mo. Mas matagal mas malaking interest ang makukuha mo. So ito na, malalaman na natin kung ano nga bang term deposit facility, paano o saan siya ginagamit ng BSP, at kung gaano siya kahalaga. So TDF is a key liquidity absorption facility. Why? Because it is commonly used by central banks for liquidity management. Due to BSP inability to issue its own debt instrument, except in cases of extraordinary movement in price level under RA 7653, TDF is tasked to withdraw a large part of the structural liquidity surplus from financial system for the market rate to become close to BSP policy rate. The BSP also offers 3 tenors. What do you mean by tenors? It refers to the length of time remaining before a financial contract end. Take note na yung tenor ay pwedeng i-exchange sa term na maturity. Yung 3 tenor na in-offer ng BSP ay ang 7 days, 14 days, and the 28 days. However, yung 28 days kasi has not been offered mula no October 14, 2020, which is reflecting the full migration of auction volumes to the 28 days BSP bills. That's all for my part. Have a nice day, everyone.
Hello everyone, my name is Janrico Cordero and I'm here to report rediscounting. So first, let's define what is rediscounting. Rediscounting is a privilege of Qualified Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or the BSP supervise banks that have approved an active rediscounting line with the BSP to obtain loans or advances from BSP using the eligible papers of its end-user borrowers or the EUBs as collaterals. It is a standing credit facility to help banks meet temporary liquidity needs by refinancing the loans they extend to their clients. So how does the rediscounting cycle go? A bank extends loans to EUBs who execute credit instruments, for example, the promissory notes, drafts, or bills of exchange in favor of the bank. The bank rediscounts the credit instrument of its EUBs by endorsing the same in favor of the BSP. The BSP, in turn, lends the bank an amount equivalent to a certain percentage of the face amount or the outstanding balance of the EUB's credit instrument. So, what is the role of rediscounting in our monetary system? Under Section 81 of the Republic Act number 7653 as amended by Republic Act number 11211, otherwise known as the New Central Bank Act, states that the rediscount, discounts, loans, and advances which BSP is authorized to extend to banking institutions shall be used to influence the volume of credit consistent with its objective of price stability and maintenance of financial stability. So, the BSP may extend 3 types of credit operations to banking institutions, namely the normal credit operations, for example, the BSP rediscounting facility through the Electronic Rediscounting System or the ERS. Number 2 is the special credit operations, and the last is the emergency credit operations. As a matter of policy of the BSP, the lender of last resort or the LOLR principle shall apply to all these 3 credit operations. So, what is the use of rediscounting facility in the BSP? The BSP uses its rediscount facility as an instrument to influence the volume of credit in the financial system and act to as the number 1 short-term safety valve for the banking system when the aggregate supply for reserves falls short of demand. Number 2, when banking institutions meet an unexpected shortage of reserves or funding for their temporary liquidity needs. The rediscounting window does not aim to compete with the existing rediscounting facilities in the market. So there are types of rediscounting facilities. Qualified BSP supervised banks may avail themselves of the peso rediscount facility and the exporters dolyar and yen rediscount facility. So that's end of my report, and thank you.
Hello everyone, good day. I am Melody Canlas, your reporter for today. And the topic I will be discussing is all about overdraft credit line.
What is an overdraft credit line?
Ang overdraft credit line ay isang uri ng bank loan na usually naka-attach sa checking account. Ang pinagkaiba nito sa ibang bank loan is kapag meron ka nito or approved ng bangko for this feature, ay it will automatically lend you money kapag may transaction ka na mas malaki ang value kesa sa account balance na meron ka sa iyong account. Overdraft facility is offered for meeting short-term obligations of individuals or businesses. What is the purpose of overdraft credit line? Ang purpose ng overdraft credit line ay para ma-avoid ang fees dahil sa insufficient na pondo sa iyong bank account. It also ensure na hindi tatalbog ang cheque na in-issue mo, as well as your debit card doesn't get denied, and that you don't miss any payments na need mo nang bayaran. When it was established, as per Philstar News, it was established last July 19, 2007, but was amended by Circular Number 705, dated December 2010, and Number 681, dated February 8. So 3 years ang pagitan bago ito napatupad or bago ito na-imply sa BSP. Who are the participating banks? Tanging mga member lang ng PCHC banks ang may ganitong features, katulad ng Land Bank, Metro Bank, Banco de Oro Bank, or the BTO, BPI, and more. You may check the link na naka-attach here if you want to know more about sa mga bangkong kabilang sa Philippine Clearinghouse Corporation. So, how does it works? Paano nga ba nag-work ang OCL o ang overdraft credit line? Magbibigay na lang ako ng example for us to understand it more. So, for example, meron kang business transaction, which is bibili ka ng equipment, but you paid it through check and not with cash. It worth 50,000 pesos. Nagkataon na ang balance na meron ka sa account mo is 20,000 pesos na lang, since marami kang transaction na ginawa. So, ang mangyayari, dahil may access ka, the bank will automatically lend you the money para mag-push through yung payment, para ma-avoid na tumalbog yung cheque mo. At kung debit card naman ang gamit mo, para hindi ma-denied ang transaction mo. So, ang mangyayari, may utang ka sa bangko na 30,000 pesos na babayaran mo at the same time, may kasama rin itong interest. Itong nakikita nyong graph dito, it shows kung hanggang magkano lang ang pwede mong mahiram at hindi ka pwedeng lumagpas doon. Yung may limit, overdraft at overdraft limit. Kapag lumagpas ka sa limit, tinatawag na iyon na overdraft. And yung overdraft naman, yan yung fund na makukuha mo or pwede mong mahiram. And then, yung overdraft limit, it means na hanggang doon lang yung pwede mong mahiram or makuhang amount. Hindi ka na pwedeng lumagpas doon dahil kumbaga, that's the maximum amount of money na pwede mong mahiram.
Good day everyone, my name is Heronte Messina from FM3A and a member of Team Kapuno, here to discuss what is emergency loan and what is standing liquidity facility. Emergency loans are also known as cash advances. It is a short-term unsecured personal loan that you can borrow instantly in case unprecedented expenses arise. Emergency loans are offered to members of social insurance institutions who are affected by calamities or unforeseeable situations that are beyond human capabilities. Some examples of these situations are earthquake, typhoon, fire accidents, and flash floods. Now, how are emergency loans being distributed? Well, there are 3 well-known distributors of emergency loans in the Philippines. These are SSS or Social Security System, GSIS or Government Service Insurance System, and Pag-ibig Fund. There are also privately owned institutions that offers emergency loans like China Bank Savings, employers, and some are even relatives and friends. So where can we avail emergency loans? With the advancement of technology, instead of enduring a long line of people and filling out forms after you have suffered from a destructive calamity just to apply for an emergency loan, you can now use your phone to log in and avail these options from applications run by the specified institutions.
So what are the types of emergency loans? One of the most well-known emergency loans offered by insurance institution in the Philippines is distributed by SSS or the Social Security System. It is called as CLAP or SSS Calamity Assistance Program. So the question now is, after you receive your emergency loan, how can you pay for it? With emergency loans, you can get as much as 20,000 pesos depending on your income bracket with an average interest rate of 6%. As with your payment, it is deducted from your monthly salary in a payment term of 27 to 36 months. However, you will not start paying until 4 months after you receive your approval date. Another central bank instrument is called Standing Liquidity Facility. Standing liquidity facilities are lending and deposit windows to provide and absorb liquidity at the initiative of the counterparty or the opposite party in a financial contract. This could be central bank to financial institutions or financial institutions to central banks. Now, what is the purpose of Standing Liquidity Facility? The purpose of Standing Liquidity Facility or SLF is to support settlement in the payment system by providing collateralized overnight loans to direct participants in the payment system who are experiencing temporary shortfalls in their settlement balances. Let's move on to the two types of standing liquidity facilities. There are two types of liquidity facility, namely overnight deposit facility and overnight lending facility. These standing overnight facilities are available on demand to qualified counterparties during the central bank's business hours. The two standing facilities that form the upper and lower bound of the corridor are set at a positive, negative, or plus minus 50 BSP or basis points around the policy rate in the new IRC structure. To further distinguish the two types of SLF or standing liquidity facility, we have overnight deposit facility. The standing overnight deposit facility will absorb any residual system liquidity to prevent market interest rates from falling below the corridor. Furthermore, the interest rate for the overnight deposit facility is the RRP rate minus or negative 50 basis points or BSP or 0.50%. The interest rate for the overnight deposit facility serves as a floor for the overnight interbank rate. Overnight lending facility, on the other hand, provides collateralized overnight funding to BSP counterparties to clear end-of-day imbalances. The interest rate for the overnight lending facility is the RRP rate of plus or positive BSP or BSP points, and the interest rate in overnight lending facilities serves as a ceiling for the overnight interbank rate. That would be all for emergency loans and standing liquidity facility. I hope you had fun and thank you for